Hello and welcome. This is TVC News at 10. We begin tonight with the approval of 853.25 million naira by the federal government to engage consultants for the concession of the Ajaokuta Steel Company and National Iron Ore Complex, Itakwe, Kogi State. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this while briefing journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided by President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The minister said the approval followed a memo presented by Olamilekun Adegbite, who is Minister of Mines and Steel Development. Also, approval was given to the Ministry of Science and Technology for the 2022 revised energy policy. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akode reports.
The industrial revolution of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration may soon gain traction with the approval of transaction advisors on plans to concession the Ajaokuta Steel Company and the National Iron Ore Mining Complex in Itakwe, Kogi State. The moribund Ajaokuta Steel Company is expected to come alive after an initial delay caused by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Efforts by previous governments since 1979 to make Nigeria become self-sufficient in the manufacturing of steel has never been successful. Maybe this time, President Buhari's administration will just break the jinx with the concessioning plan.
We believe that with this development, would have made significant steps in bringing back to life both the Ajaokuta Steel Complex and the Iron Ore Company in Itakwe, and fast forward the industrial revolution of Nigeria.
Council also approved the 2022 revised energy policy that seeks to harness the abundant energy sources available in the country and utilize it to enhance productivity in all sectors of the economy and also contribute to an improved supply of electricity across the country.
Nigeria is so blessed, and what we want to do is to make sure that we have a mix that will bring in all the various energy resources that Nigeria has for the benefit of our nation.
Residents in the federal capital will soon feel the impact of an improved electricity supply when the construction of a direct circuit line from Katampe to the National Stadium is completed. Already an approval has been given for the variation of the contract earlier granted in 2010. The Ministry of Power also got approval for the design and construction of transmission line from Birnin Kebbi through Zuru to Yauri in Kebbi State.
At the cost of also two components, offshore and the onshore. The offshore is $25.8 million and the onshore is 10.2 billion naira.
Before the commencement of this week's Federal Executive Council meeting, 4 new permanent secretaries were sworn in by President Muhammadu Buhari. The new permanent secretaries are Mrs. Beatrice Jedi Agba, Kacholom Daju, Malam Shehu Ibrahim, and Dr. Mary Ogwe. Femi Akande, TVC News, Abuja.
Staying in the nation's capital, where a federal high court has ordered contempt charges against 3 senior advocates of Nigeria involved in the $418 million Paris Club refund suit through courier services. The order issued by Justice Inyang Eko followed a complaint that the 5 senior lawyers allegedly refused to personally receive service of the charge as required by law. Judiciary correspondent Celestina Area reports.
The 3 senior advocates are Sunday Ibrahim Ame, Garuba Tentengi, Olumuyiwa Akimburu. The contempt charge was initiated against the senior lawyers by a private company and its sponsor, Panic Alert and Judge Ubo, who accused the lawyers of professional misconduct. In the contempt charge, the senior advocates allegedly placed a covenant emptor on a judgment of the Federal High Court which granted permission to the federal government to deduct the $418 million from the financial allocations of the 36 states as payment for debt they incurred during the refund of Paris Club refund. At the proceedings, counsel to Judge Ubo and Panikalat moved an ex parte application asking Justice Eku to grant delivery of the contempt charge against the senior lawyers on the ground that they allegedly evade personal service as required by law. The aggrieved applicants asked the court for an order to serve the contempt on the lawyers through a courier company and by posting same in their respective offices. Justice Eku, in a brief ruling on the ex parte application, ordered that motion for contempt charge be served on the senior lawyers within 7 days and fixed May 26th for the hearing of the motion. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
To the fight against drug abuse, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has urged political parties to make drug integrity tests part of the screening requirement for aspirants seeking to contest various offices in the 2023 general election. NDLEA Chairman Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, said this today at the 2022 Best Performing Commands Award ceremony held in Abuja. Mr. Marwa said he has written a letter to the chairman of the All Progressives Congress to conduct drug tests on all the party's aspirants, adding that he will write to the PDP and other political parties. The agency says advocacy is not just for politicians, but also to government appointees, as Kano State government is already considering the procedure. Mr. Marwa also highlighted some of the feats the agency has recorded in the last 3 months, including the arrest of over 3,500 suspects. In its bid to complement the federal government's efforts to tackle the disturbing spate of insecurity in the country, the Upper Legislative Chamber has prohibited the payment of ransoms to kidnappers. The payment of kidnap ransom was criminalized by the lawmakers during Wednesday's plenary as they passed the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013 Amendment Bill 2022. The prohibition by the lawmakers followed the receipt and consideration of a report by the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the bill. Chairman of the committee, Senator Okpayemi Bamidele, had moved that the lawmakers receive the report, after which he presented it for consideration. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, says the fight against insecurity is not the sole purpose of a government, and the contributions, support of the citizens is essential. Let's turn attention to Zamfara, where the state government has dethroned 2 first-class emirs and the district head over their involvement in armed banditry and other criminal activities. The dethroned emirs include the Emir of Dansada Umar, the Emir of Zurmi Abubakar Atiku, and the district head of Birnin Saba in Zurmi Emirate, Suleiman Danyabi. The State Commissioner for Information and Home Affairs, Ibrahim Desara, announced this while briefing journalists shortly after the State Executive Council meeting held at the Government House, Gusau. He says the decision becomes necessary after careful study of the report of the 2 committees set up by the state government to investigate the allegations. The council has also ordered that all land titles issued by the affected emirs would be revoked.
The council met today, Wednesday, April 2022, to deliberate on a white paper presented to the council on the outcome of investigations by 2 committees set up by government sometimes in June-July 2021 on the alleged involvement of some traditional rulers in the activities of bandits in the state, particularly within their domains. The council equally approved the revocation of all land titles granted by the 2 emirs of Zurmi, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and that of Dansadau, Alhaji Hussein Umar.
The sudden escalation of attacks and kidnappings in various parts of the country has not only been a source of worry to citizens, but also to those in authority. Just yesterday, the Department of State Services said it uncovered plots by suspected criminal gangs to attack worship and relaxation centers with improvised explosive devices. TVC News' Tai Amodu takes a look at the security advisory and its implications on the citizenry.
Attacks on the airport and rail services in Kaduna. Attacks on communities in southern Kaduna. The sudden renewal of attacks by Fulani militiamen in parts of Benue and Plateau states. The sudden escalation of activities of bandits in Niger State and 2 bomb explosions at drinking spots in Taraba State. These acts of violence seem to follow a pattern. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives had expressed worry that if not immediately curtailed, bandits may take over the country, and had come to a resolution that heads of security agencies should set up a special security task force on airports and railways across the country. But now comes this security advisory from the Directorate of State Services, warning citizens that criminal elements are planning to return the country to the pre-2015 era, reminiscent of IED attacks on soft and hard targets in parts of the country.
That alert is clear. It's warning of impending bomb attacks targeting soft locations, soft targets. So every Nigerian should heed that advice. This is the second advice that the SSS is releasing in as many months.
Kabiru Adamu is a security analyst who feels the agencies are still on top of the situation, but must adjust to changing strategies in this unconventional war. The DSS puts the recent escalation in insecurity down to suspected criminal gangs forging an alliance among themselves, with a view to launching further attacks on critical infrastructure and other frequented public spaces, like worship and relaxation centers, especially during and after the holidays and festive celebration.
Now, the thing with IEDs is you never know in what form those IEDs will be brought to you. It could be brought in a bag, it could be brought in a prayer mat, it could be brought in a water keg, it could be brought in a food flask. So that means the level of awareness should be so high that once we see something that we suspect that we're not sure of, we should just raise the alarm. And instead of touching it, we should call the relevant agencies.
Citizens, especially managers of places that attract large gatherings, are advised to be vigilant. But in the long run, while citizens must play their part by not only being alert to suspicious movements, the security agencies must step up their game and bring this menace to an end. Tai Amudu, TVC News, Abuja.
Welcome back. Let's talk health now. As part of activities to mark the World Malaria Day, Reckitt Benckiser Nigeria, makers of Mortein Insecticide, says it is constantly ready to improve on its product through harnessing innovation that will help to improve efforts towards the elimination of malaria. This was disclosed at the 2022 Malaria Day celebration at ministerial briefing in the capital city of Abuja. Kemi Balogun has details.
The day begins with a 2.5-kilometer walk on the busy streets of the nation's capital of Abuja. This walk by these advocates is simply to raise voices to champion the eradication of malaria in the country. The walk ends up at the conference put together for government agencies and partners to deliberate on the way forward towards ending this disease through adequate funding.
PMI has contributed $768 million to date and $74 million just in 2022.
In line with the 5th objective of the National Malaria Strategic Plan, which seeks to improve funding for malaria control by 25% through predictable and innovative sources.
The high burden to high impact approach of rethinking malaria provided the right impetus for the current malaria strategic plan toward using certified evidence-based approach and information and drive impact.
Advocates in the fight to end malaria believe that more needs to be done through improving on the gains. The World Malaria Report of 2021 estimates that 228 million cases occurred in the African region, with more than 600,000 deaths. This is why several activities are again in top gear to mark the World Malaria Day, with this year's theme being Advance Equity, Build Resilience, End Malaria. This ministerial briefing to mark this year's World Malaria Day is simply to draw focus on the need for government at all levels, individuals, communities, and development partners to collaborate and advance the national cause of eliminating malaria through innovation and resource mobilization.
Malaria elimination is clearly a cost-intensive exercise. And with dwindling external support, we have had to develop a plan to scale up the public-private philanthropic partnership for domestic resource mobilization to ensure increased funding support for malaria elimination.
Are working on different innovations over the years. We have to, however, work within the protocol of the regulatory bodies in the country, and that makes a bit of a lengthy process to get new products. However, we will only not depend on the innovations, but also driving awareness, and hence you see our new brand ambassador Kate Henshaw is there, and we are driving the campaign in terms of driving awareness on malaria.
The fight to end malaria has also been initiated in Kenya, and we hope that from Nigeria to Kenya and even also other African countries, that in due time we will have an end to malaria. Last year we launched the Fight to End Malaria initiative, whereby we want to do awareness, and we also want to drive access to our different products that we have in Nigeria. So we have different variants. We have the odorless for people who might be allergic to the fragrance one. We have the lemon. We also have the LED, the liquid electronic device, which can be used, for all-night protection.
The marketing director of Reckitt Sub-Saharan Africa believes that it is important to focus more on prevention and control through the use of effective insecticide products like Mortein.
The claim that we are making here is all about how the efficacy of the product is. And this claim has been tested by third-party authorities and also endorsed by the regulatory body in Nigeria.
This year's commemoration also gives another opportunity to focus national attention on malaria and its devastating impact on families, communities, and societal development. Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
Eat and Go, owners of Domino's Pizza, has promised to get their orders delivered to Nigerians within 20 minutes from the time of order. This is spread across their shops in Nigeria. This pledge was made at a press conference in Lagos, as the brand noted that if it fails to deliver orders on time, the customer gets a free pizza voucher. We have more in this report, after which we'll have business news.
The excitement signaling the beginning of a new business relationship with Nigerians. Eat and Go owners of Domino's Pizza are stepping up their service by delivering your order within 20 minutes from the time you've ordered. This is a departure from the earlier stand of the company to deliver pizza within 25 minutes.
We offer a 20-minute delivery guarantee to all customers. If we're not there in 20 minutes, we'll give you a free pizza voucher for your next order. We're that confident that we'll get there. Now, we're human, and from time to time, we may not arrive on time, but we will compensate our customers for that. Because of our absolute focus on customer service,
overall, we have more than 90% of our orders delivered below the 20 minutes. And the team just keep making us proud and proud. This is one of the steps that Domino's Nigeria is taking in the Domino's ecosystem in the world.
With over 20,000 shops in over 70 countries, Eat and Go says customers will now get orders faster and save more time to do other things they enjoy.
We have an amazing team here in Nigeria who are doing this against all odds. Nobody would have thought in Nigeria that we would be recognized as the fastest Domino's pizza delivery market globally. There is no other Domino's pizza market globally that delivers pizza at an average time lower than Domino's Pizza Nigeria.
We build systems to everything we do. Building a system is not enough. Trainings follow, and then follow-ups. When we identify gaps, we coach the team, and we keep doing it. Just
having an excellent service to drive excellent customer satisfaction is the end goal. So at the end of the day, the customers, it's a win-win for both of us, for the customers and also ourselves.
The brand says with more locations coming on board within the country, it will continue to improve its processes and offer superior services to Nigerians.
And in business news, the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee says it shared a total sum of 725.5 billion naira in March 2022 for the Federation accounts revenue to the federal government, states and local councils. The committee, in a communique issued at the end of a virtual meeting of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee for the month of April 2022, disclosed that the 725.571 billion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 521.169 billion naira, distributable value added tax revenue of 204.402 billion naira. In March 2022, the total deduction for the cost of collection was 44.41 billion naira, and the total deductions for statutory transfers, refunds and savings was 382.826 billion naira. From the total distributable revenue of 725.57 billion naira, the federal government received 277.104 billion naira. The states received 227.201 billion naira. Local government councils received 167.910 billion naira. A total of 53.356 billion naira was shared to the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. The committee also disclosed that the month of March 2022, petroleum profit tax, oil and gas royalties, import and excise duties, company income tax, value added tax, and all of this recorded tremendous increases. Meanwhile, 10 deposit money banks in Nigeria earned a total of 1.57 trillion naira in net interest income last year, up from 1.49 trillion naira as at December 31st, 2020. That's according to a report from the Central Bank of Nigeria. According to the Apex Bank data from their audited financial statements for the period ended December 31st, 2021, shows that 7 of the banks boosted their net interest income, their main source of revenue, while the rest witnessed a decline. Well, the 10 banks include Union Bank, Stanbic IBTC, Fidelity Bank, Sterling Bank, Wema Bank, First City Monument Bank, Access Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, United Bank for Africa, and Zenith Bank. Net interest income is the difference between the revenue generated by a bank from the interest earned on assets, such as loans to customers and interest paid out on customers' deposits. Experts in the financial sector say literacy serves as major strategic tool that financial institutions can leverage to drive inclusive prosperity in the country. Addressing journalists at a workshop by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group in collaboration with Zcrest Group in Lagos, the GMD of the group, Mr. Debayo Hamzat, urged both the fiscal and monetary authorities to engage in effective financial literacy programs to get the unbanked into the financial system. He noted that prosperity inclusion through financial sector innovation can play a significant role in building a secure future for inclusive prosperity in the country.
How come there's an established financial system well regulated? How come there is a hungry, productive sector that's starved in the midst of excess liquidity? It means that there's a supply problem.
I think one clear thing in this country is stakeholder identification and stakeholder engagement. Everybody has a part to play. If you're a banker, you have your head of risk. I'm not too sure the head of sales is the best friends with the head of risk. But everybody has a card to carry.
Everyone who really needs financial services, the basic ones, which is really just about accounts operations, they already have. So why are the numbers not growing? It is not growing because the point is, the first layer is prosperity. Only prosperous people can require bank accounts. If I'm not properly engaged, if I don't make an income, I don't need an account. And I think that is the whole point of this conversation, which is why, if you notice, we're saying prosperity inclusion, we're not talking financial inclusion. It is about creating those policies that empower people and enrich people at scale, securing and enriching Nigerians, so that then we can start to talk about financial inclusion.
Nigeria's manufacturing sector can contribute more to the national gross domestic product if an enabling environment is created to drive its growth. Participants shared the view at a 2022 Expo in Lagos. Ifunanya Eze reports.
The focus of discussions at the conference center on the theme Rethinking Manufacturing and Value Chains for Inclusion and Sustainability. Participants drawn from the public and private sector agree on the critical importance of the manufacturing sector in determining a country's economic development.
Manufacturing is a critical sector of any country and could be a significant contributor to the economy of that country if well developed.
Nigeria being the giant of Africa, we have our numbers over 200 million people. It means we have the will, we have the capacity, we have the skill set. But the enabling environment has to be there for foreign direct investment to come into place, for manufacturers to have the right finance.
Other speakers identified limiting factors impeding Nigeria's manufacturing sector, noting that there is need to change the narrative.
The ease of doing business in Nigeria is very poor, even though there has been focus and attention to improve it over the last several years. We have not been feeling that improvement. To clear our goods from the ports is arduous and difficult and challenging. We meet with all sorts of obstacles. Those are the challenges entrepreneurs face in our country.
Government authorities say a strategic roadmap is being implemented to tackle current hurdles.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has been facing the challenges ahead on. For about the first time in the history of the ministry, we have had a consistent set of industrial policy under the caption of Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan.
We're all doing everything to ensure that we have power. Truth is, there's been a lot of challenges, and not only in the power sector. All sectors have had one challenge or the other. But yes, I agree that the driver is power. And I also agree that we have a lot of work to do in moving power to where all of us expect it to be. But I can assure you that this government is doing a lot.
The yearly conference provides a platform to showcase available business opportunities in Nigeria and how local and international collaborations can drive growth and development of the manufacturing sector. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News.
Continue to pull up positive figures following gains by companies. Effiong Ekop has details.
Many companies have steadily improved their prices and values following positive trends recorded at the stock market. Flat transactions saw trade index at 0.01% as many fund managers preferred long stay at the sales windows. Market conditions threw up Academy Press and Wema Bank as top price gainers with almost 10%. Cadbury, UPDC and Presco also made reasonable gains. Ikeja Hotels and Livestock Feed were heavy business losers on the back of sales pressure by investors. Chip PLC, Union Bank and Cornerstone Insurance dropped in prices and values. 246 million units of shares were traded with value at 2.32 billion naira. Across Africa, stock exchanges traded in mixed territories. It was negative in Kenya, where the Nairobi Securities Exchange lost values by heavy margin above a percentage point. Stock traders moved for equity sales for cash. The market in South Africa closed in green. Many equities traders returned to the trading floor for deals. Finally, the market in Accra, Ghana traded flat. Stock prices were generally weak in trade sectors. Effiong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.